Hi, I'm Anna. I decided to do my word story on the word horse, and this is for a couple of different reasons. I had a couple questions going into this. So my first question was where idioms come from that contain the word horse. A couple of examples of these would be hold your horses or to hear something straight from the horse's mouth. And then kind of along those lines, how has the meaning of the word developed over time? And has that had any impact on these idioms? So to start off, I looked at the origins of the word. And so the Proto-Indo-European root that could have developed into the word horse is kers, which meant to run. But that was only one possible origin. The other possibility is that it could have come into our language as a loan word from Sarmatian or Uralic. And it's kind of unclear which one it is, but yeah, it's probably one of those. And we know it came in to the Germanic languages because we have a Proto-Germanic root, hars, which just meant the same thing that we think of now, just the animal, a horse. And this developed into the Old Saxon horse, which is, as the English language developed, we added an E at the end, and then that became the word we know today. So originally, it just meant the same thing. It just meant the animal, a horse. But over time, it has come to have some different meanings. So in 1548, for example, it was used to refer to part of the military, the cavalry. And this was just because of the association of these were the people who were riding horses, and so they were called the horse just because of that association. In 1598, it was used to describe a person who might have, horse-like features. The example that comes to my mind is Harry the horse from Guys and Dolls. I don't know if you all are familiar with musicals or enjoy them, but that's where my mind went when I heard that definition. And then later in 1626, it was used as a nautical term, specifically a traverse horse, which was a rope that supported sailors as they rigged ropes and worked on them. And so the idea of that it supported them was similar to how you would ride a horse and it would support you. In 1703, it was used as a frame or structure to support something, and this was mostly just due to its appearance. They would have 4 legs and a beam across the top. We think of today like a sawhorse, used in construction to support something as you work on it. And that's where this use of the word came from. In 1707, we saw it referring to health, talking about being as fit as a horse or healthy as a horse, or with eating habits, somebody eats like a horse. Means they're eating a lot, because horses eat a lot. In 1875, it was used to refer to the vaulting block in gymnastics. And this was similar to the frame or structure used because of the appearance of it, with the legs and big beam across the top. And now we see that with the pommel horse in gymnastics still. The vault looks different, but that's where the name originally came from. In 1904, we saw it being referred to or being used to talk about cars or different vehicles. People would talk about the horsepower, or you could say like, oh, this car has 400 horses under the hood. And this was just, this came about because horses were work animals. And so, yeah, it referred to their strength and compared their strength to that of the engine or car. In 1926, it was used to refer to a mud or sand bank. And this was just because as the river wore down on the banks, it often made it look kind of rounded, like a horse's rear end. And so that was another one that came about because of a similar look or appearance. So back to my original question of idioms and how those have changed over the years. So in the 1670s, the idiom to ride a horse that was full of an acorn was used, and this referred to executions or like being executed. And this was the connection was that there was a torture device called a horse, and so that came about because of that. I am not sure what the acorn bit means. And then later in the Civil War, we got the expression to swap horses while crossing the river, which is referring to a bad idea. I imagine maybe people were trying to do this at that time and fell in the river or something. Realized that's a really bad idea. Let's use this as an expression. In the 1630s and then later in 1864 we saw again the phrase like to beat a dead horse or to flog a dead horse, which came from somebody who's kind of worn out an idea and like they're like, stop, you're just like you're beating a dead horse, like, yeah. And yeah, so horses were work animals, and so but yeah, if you have a dead horse and you're trying to get it to do something by beating it, it's not really gonna work. In 1842 we have hold your horses, which just referred to the grip that somebody would have on the reins while they were riding. And I think kind of stuck around because it has like a nice alliteration to it also. And then in 1921, we have the horse's mouth, or to hear something from the horse's mouth. And it's like the idea of getting like the honest truth. And this actually came about as a result of like racetrack tips. And so somebody might say that a horse is however many years old, but in order to determine if that was true, they could look at a horse's mouth and look at their teeth, and their teeth would actually show, they would be able to determine the age of the horse accurately by the teeth. And so they could see if somebody were lying about their age. And so the idea of to hear something straight from the horse's mouth, or to hear like the truth, came about. And so, yeah, over the years, we still have the original meaning of horse, but we have a lot of additional ones and lots of idioms that use this, and we see that the connections are either based on appearance, or it can also refer to characteristics of a horse, like we talked about, the strength, or the teeth lots of different things, or like how a horse is ridden. And yeah, so that's a little bit about the word horse. Here's my sources, and I hope you all learned something new.